All right. Good afternoon. I'm showing it is now 3:12, and we'll call the regular scheduled meeting of the City of Erie Redevelopment Authority to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Emailed out in your board packet was the agenda, which is the consent agenda, which includes today's agenda as well as the minutes from the meeting of June 12th. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda? Is there a second? Second. Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. We want to make sure everyone's microphones are on, so because we're live. And next on our agenda are citizens to be heard. Are there any citizens' comments?
Board members, my name is Donald Crenshaw. I live at 2041 Woodlawn Avenue, Erie, Pennsylvania. And I just received today, and I'd like to thank the Redevelopment Authority, Aaron Snipper, for a relinquished agreement for the property on East 22nd Street. That particular property is 324. And I understand the 1st of June, you guys condemned it or actually took ownership of it. And under this release agreement, we could basically go in and pay the Redevelopment Authority $4,000 plus make sure our insurance, which we have on it now, stays on it. It's a $500 $5,000, and I think $1 million for $1 million per occasion, $500,000 per person. My question to the Redevelopment Authority: I had been in contact with Aaron prior to this taking place. We completely cleaned up the building back here. I have photos and all that I can issue you. We covered the roof, we tarped it in. We cleaned up the property from top to bottom, went inside. I don't understand why the Redevelopment Authority entered into possession of that particular property, because I was in communication. The property was cleaned up. There was debris and everything in the backyard, and it was some issues. There was cars next door. We removed some cars, and long and short, we have a program where we're literally training individuals. I got documentation, pictures where they all went up and just cleaned the whole place. Right next to it, 326, there's a pile of garbage there now that's been there for over a year. That property's vacant as well. And if you walk into my property and look, you can't help but see it. But I don't see it on the list. Our property taxes were paid up through last year. The building was boarded up, secured. The last tenants that stayed in there were young ladies that couldn't afford it. We let them stay there a year. And we're fixing up properties. I was at a pre-bid today with the Redevelopment Authority to fix up a piece of property very similar, needing conditions or having conditions that have to be addressed for this property to be fixed up and for somebody to own it or what have you. So we're all doing, I think, the same thing, trying to fix up and keep our community kept up. I'm paying all our taxes. So I still don't understand. I feel that I'm being singled out because there's other properties all around my house, and I gave you my address, that's been vacant over a year. There's a dumpster there now. When you guys took possession of 2708 Downing, up until our last court hearing, we've been mowing the lawn. It hasn't been mowed since. I got pictures, it's this high. There's trash all over it right now. So my question is, what's the difference when if I own it or the Redevelopment Authority owns it? Do we all both have to comply with codes and keeping things kept up? Because I took pictures, and I'll send them to each of the board members an hour ago. There's couches, there's tires, there's debris, grass hasn't been mowed. I took a picture of 324 East 22nd. The grass is not 1.5 feet high. There's no garbage and debris on the front, but I see somebody just went there recently and dumped some more stuff in the very back. But as a taxpayer and a developer of this community that's spending more money as a private individual than anybody in the city to fix up houses and to make home ownership. You take a ride across Buffalo Road, you'll see 4 of those houses completely redone. We'll put it out there in market. They're gonna sell to homeowners. We're doing everything we can do, but the stress and aggravation, and when I see the agreement, and I thank you, Aaron, again for sending it, we offered one of these to you guys before, and before you spend any money, an agreement's agreement. Why isn't the redevelopment taking the position, especially somebody like me, who they had look at a job that they know we have the ability to fix up? We don't meet behind closed doors and say, hey, look, here's agreement. Let's not spend the taxpayers' money paying for legal. Let's get this addressed, documented, and taken care of. Up until this point, there's been a lot of paperwork passed back and forth, but not a lot of communication and agreements of any sort put together to say, if you don't follow the agreement, this is what's gonna happen. When I see a $4,000 fee to take my property back that you want, and you're willing to give me time to fix it up, but if the redevelopment authority is paying $4,000 in fees, when there's people like me that will address these properties, and when they become such an issue to the redevelopment authority by complaints or others, let's just enter into this agreement before you spend that money. A binding agreement is a binding agreement. And I've never had until just now an agreement issued to me by the redevelopment authority to say, let's do something. I appreciate the agreement, but I am sort of insulted to the point that you want me to pay you for a piece of property you took. But if I go fix it up, it's okay, when all you had to do is send me this a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, and say, here's your agreement. We're gonna do what we're gonna do if you don't do anything, but we have documentation that we did we started fixing the unit up. I just received fair monies. If you look, our state rep put it in the paper. We just received money, and PHFA has been giving us money to fix up houses for over a year. We just received a lot of money, and so did everybody else in Erie that's doing what we're doing. We haven't gotten it yet, but it's coming. We're gonna use it to continue to fix up houses. Redevelopment Authority is sitting on millions of dollars. Instead of taking property, why don't you put an agreement together that says, here, it's blight, I get it. It needs to be fixed up, but homeowner, especially the minorities, I got a list of 15 minorities that's lost their homes through a condition, when I think it'd be great if we granted them some dollars to at least make it code compliance like Pittsburgh does, and say, look, we'll allow you to have this money if it's fixed up in this time period, and it's gonna be your residence, and we keep it on the tax roll. From a generational wealth standpoint, you can leave it to your kids or grandkids. Right now, the city of Erie has 3% minority home ownership, 3%. What do we got to leave for our next generation? What do I got to leave for my kid? Okay, when you're taking properties the way you're taking them, and you're not giving people anything for them, I would just ask that you guys reconsider, look at the methodology. I'm here. I got about 8 youth right now I'm trying to train. It's costing a lot of money. Partner with me and say, Dawn, we'll cover the cost of fixing it up maybe, as in you fix it up, you train, we keep it on the rolls, and we go forward. There's several nonprofits that have reached out to me, basically all of them that's in housing, and we're gonna try to do something. But I got this cooperation from everybody I feel except the main party that I'm looking at, Redevelopment Authority. We've had attorneys involved and we've gone back and forth. We're waiting on courts to determine values. Guys, why are we spending the taxpayers' money for all these legal fees? Heck, my firm that's buying selling them for the properties for me is the same firm that's coming after me taking them. Okay, but I still work with them because the properties that you're taking, their firm did all the closings for every single one of them. So it really doesn't look good. I can pay a firm to acquire property, try to fix it up, then have that same firm come after me through the Redevelopment Authority. And then still, every day that I have a closing, and we'll have 2, I think, in about a month, I'm paying the firm again. So when I look at this, it doesn't look good. It may be legal, but it doesn't look good. But I say this, guys, let's come together. Let's stop fighting. Let's stop spending the people's tax money for legal fees and doing things you don't have to do. Well, Dawn, how do you know we don't have to do them? Because you're picking on me. Guys, I'm about to spend 11 houses, 1 block. The prints are in. Things are getting ready to happen. Let's work together. All right? I'm going to leave it at, let's just work together. It doesn't look good if we document what Wall Street says that may or may not be true. But when I document, it is one of the worst places for a black man to work right now in this city, because I'm working in other communities, 40% minority requirement. They're calling me, we're doing work. Pittsburgh Redevelopment Authority, I just got a letter. Line of credit, you working here, we'll give it to you. Where's that line of credit? Redevelopment Authority, you have it. Let's work together. Go out there, fix up some of these homes, but let's work together. Aaron, I will give you a number on the property we looked at today, and I'll probably be the best number you'll get. And at the same time, when you have to pay prevailing rate in Davis-Bacon, there's other means and methods that we can do this, that the redevelopment can create income based on my program and some of the things that we're doing, that you don't have to pay all those dollars. We've done it. Look up Zoe Metals, Zach Associates. We built 25 homes in that area, $140,000 development costs. The individual has only paid $70,000. We did it. It's not we can do it. We did it. So Redevelopment Authority, why won't you work with me on something like that? Say, okay, Dwayne, let's sit down. Let's talk about it, and let's make it happen. So I leave it at that. I would love to continue working with you, Aaron. I know you got a job to do. I know you got pressure. I'll be that pressure relief valve as much as I can to help make things happen. And when I got youth that I'm training right now, and they're doing what needs to be done, why not do it? Any questions? Any comments?
I think I have a comment. First of all, I appreciate what you brought to the table, but certainly I only have one side of things. I think we just need to investigate some things that are going on so that we can get some further information as a board to know everything that you just spoke of and go from there. But one of the things I think the Redevelopment Authority looks to do is to work with viable contractors within the city as well as citizens to be able to spend the money that we've received from government agencies in a very appropriate manner. So I can trust that in the future we'll be doing that. I don't think we will single you out, and if you ever feel that way, I think you just need to let us know. And I apologize if you felt that way before.
Oh, I do feel that way, and I go back to prior to him. Sam Randazzo, 21st Street. I came in with a proposal of home ownership to renovate that whole area. I was told no. Okay, they hired another contractor. He built several homes up there, about 21. They sold them for a lot more than what our project, which was Zoe Metals, same time we did. And it just seems like everything we try to do, we get a fight. Heck, I sued the city in 2012 for 20th and Parade to build those houses. I have a contract done by Greg Baldwin to build a grocery store. I was told I'm not the one. So I've been in the city building and doing. Heck, I got 80 houses of housing on 21st and Parade, 20th and Parade. 80 houses. I didn't get one penny from here to build that. Something's wrong with that. Board members, I ask you, before it gets real ugly, do everything in your heart that's right to give me an opportunity to do what I do. Buy houses, fix them up, create jobs, and home ownership. That's what I do. Not what I can do, what I do. So I ask you all, do everything you can do to make our city a better place and stop taking properties that the owners have paid the taxes and want to fix up, which this owner especially. I don't know about the rest of them, but I appreciate your comments, Brother Nelson, and board members, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizens to be heard? Any other citizens' comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to item C, the financial report. Ms. Decker?
Yes. I have included the balance sheet, the profit and loss statement, and a list of all of the checks that were dispersed for the month of June. And on that, I wanted to speak of a little bit of the income that we had received, or I should say grant reimbursement that we had received for June, with the ARPA Administrative Fund, the Healthy Homes, the Blight Mitigation, and the East Bayfront Greenway Trail Project. That totaled $124,558.31. We also had, we are currently expecting $56,125.25 from a combination of the Erie County Department of Planning for Act 137 in McKean Township. And we also have home investment partnership funds that will be due in about 15 days for a little over $17,000. And then we have Housing Authority funds for almost $16,000 that we're expecting within the next couple days as well.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to touch on a small HR perspective that Tracy, Aaron, and I had signed up and paid for accredited HR training courses through the Academy of Innovative HR. It is recognized as an approved training provider with SHRM and HRCI, HRPA, CPHR. So currently Tracy and I are in the midst of becoming certified specialists for diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging right now.
Very good.
That takes a minimum of 29 hours and then some projects before we're considered certified.
Great. In addition to personnel, you can apply those skill sets to.
There are, yes, so we have a whole year of training, and there are, I believe, about 33 different certificate programs that we can take.
Okay, good. Great. We're very happy to hear that.
Yeah. And then we also have a letter in here from Amy, our auditor, explaining that she is not prepared for this board meeting with our financial statements due to some issues that we had with the QuickBooks and turnover from employees, former employees, and the mess that had all created.
Okay.
So
and that's this email here?
Yes. Yep. So she is still working on that and said that she is hoping to bring that to next month's board meeting.
Okay, and I get, we're on a December 31st fiscal year end?
Yes.
Okay, so we're 6 months into our next fiscal year then, okay. So we're already in a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
She had fully prepared to have it by June 30th. There was just too many issues with the transition from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online that had started under previous employment. So it delayed it about a week. It was supposed to go to her quality control check this or the last Friday, so it just delayed about a week and missed the board meeting.
If possible, if the draft could be emailed out prior to the next board meeting, that would be really super great.
Yeah.
You know, so we could have it reviewed then, and any questions could be either maybe even answered in advance of that then.
Okay, yeah, and she's fully prepared. She will attend the board meeting and present it to the board at that
Yeah,
time.
and particularly since the growth in the organization, amount of ARP funds that we have, I mean, it tends to, you know,
Absolutely.
raise your eyebrow a little
Absolutely.
bit more. We want to make sure that we have sufficient time to really dig in. Good, thank you, appreciate that.
And then that is all I have for the financial
All
statements.
right. Just for continuity, is there a motion to accept the financial report as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, on to items D, which we start out with our rehab report.
All right, thank you. So rehab report is in front of you. Added an intake section to it this week that Holly put together. Right now, you know, in total of all the applications, there's 240 applications that we're working through processing amongst all the different programs. We did, you know, and if the board isn't aware, our application is now a one application. No longer does an applicant apply for a funding source, they apply for assistance. And then upon approval into the program, then the inspectors go out, inspect the property, and make a determination. So it's 240 applications for assistance through the authority, whether that be county, city, whatever the case will be, then we make a determination upon that. So we're working through those applications. Under the lead hazard control grant, we continue to process applicants, try to find applicants that qualify for that program and utilize that. Again, that's a countywide program. Majority of our programs, our funding for that is the city of Erie, but we do operate that countywide. The Healthy Homes program is moving forward. Plenty of projects under contract there, working through that as well. Given that that's about a year in, the benchmark for that over 3 years was 180 units, so we're well within the parameters as benchmarks on that. CDBG, we have one project under contract from our 2022 allocation, so we're working on getting that completed. Requested an extension from the city, which is what you guys signed, to push that out till September so that we can get that project completed. The rest of the money went back to the city. They will more than likely reallocate that under additional contracts this year. And as you're aware, we did not apply for CDBG funding this year, and the explanation to the city as far as why we only had one CDBG project was because given the opportunity for city residents to choose between programs, they would rather have a funding stream that didn't require a lien as opposed to one that did.
Sure.
So CDBG, as we're all aware, comes with a lot of strings and a lot of federal guidelines, so it makes it extremely cumbersome to operate. County rehabilitation is moving along. The Act 137 program, as Chuck had mentioned prior to the meeting, worked with the county executive and Department of Planning in Erie County to work through the whole homes repair program. We're in that agreement with them. I think we're finally got the program narrowed down to its parameters as far as what funding will be utilized for. We're tiering it in a tiered approach toward 9 boroughs in our service area for the county, try to make a direct impact on the main corridors throughout those areas. Other than that, that's the rehab report.
And I did want to mention, it's just for the benefit of everybody, it was interesting to me, and I was very proud to see that the City of Erie Redevelopment Authority kind of spreading the wings out into throughout the county, and being the authority handling the residential programs there. So Erie County is pretty large, and talk about getting from point A to point B, and then you think about the geographical diversity. Much different cultures out in Albion, Union City, Edinburgh, where I work, and so on. So, adapting to those cultures and making these programs available has been, very interesting. And Aaron and team are doing a good job with that.
Thank you.
And if you ever thought about getting an outpost, I could probably find you some office space out here. So if that's helpful, I don't know what the future holds, but if it makes sense that we have an office out in the county, we could probably find something for that to happen. So. All
right, general updates.
Yes,
Just go over briefly. We were awarded a $20,000 grant from the National Center for Healthy Housing to be utilized for healthy homes, social impact health determinations in in-home child care facilities in the city of Erie. That grant comes with coaching and support from the National Center for Healthy Housing for 12 months. So we signed the agreement and got that back to them last week. So Holly's going to work on moving that grant forward. The Homes Within Reach conference for December, we provided 2 workshop descriptions for their review. They approved our workshop for blight mitigation, so we'll be providing a presentation in December at the Homes Within Reach conference on blight. National Land Bank Conference is in Cleveland this year, October 16th and 17th. Mindy and Jake will be attending, offering it to board members if they would like to attend, given its close proximity. It is probably some good knowledge on land banking, which certainly we can cross into our blight mitigation, East Bayfront Greenway Trail programs as we move those forward. A lot of good information at those.
Excuse me, what was the date?
The 16th and 17th. I believe it starts Monday afternoon and it'll go Tuesday. Okay. Tuesday is a full day.
Yeah, Tuesday is like 8 to 5:30.
Okay, thank you.
Michael Baker, our consultant for the East Bayfront Greenway Trail project, submitted our program for the planners conference in Scranton. That presentation was approved, so I will be attending the planning conference in Scranton October 16th to present with Michael Baker on the East Bayfront Greenway Trail project. Our office furniture is being installed this week, so that is a welcome relief for the staff. I know it's going to be a rough week for the staff given the complete disarray that the office is currently in. That started last week, so that gets starting to be installed tomorrow, and so by the end of the week, hopefully, we'll be a little bit more productive and efficient within the office with everyone having a desk space instead of using filing cabinets to work off of. So and then as far as the RFP, we're working on putting together a RFP for human resource consultant. Have several examples of RFPs from across the state to put together and get one of those out to identify an HR consultant.
Thank you.
So that's my update.
Any questions for Mr. Snifford? Good. Appreciate your work. Thank you. Solicitor's report.
Good afternoon. I have an oral solicitor's report and can follow up by email. There was a second batch of recent condemnation actions, 18 total that were recently filed. There were 2 that were removed, one of which was referenced with regard to the agreement that was entered into. There are a number of industrial condemnations that are going to be filed this week. Again, we've been asked by the county to help them with regard to that. So the title searchers are back. I've been working with my assistant, Tina Allen, so those are going to be filed. Those will be filed this week. And then there were 2 hearings that were held from our last month's meeting, one of which was on valuation. Mm-hmm. We have not received a decision on that. I would anticipate that decision will be extremely detailed. It will be thorough, so that the judge is in all likelihood taking his time and being very comprehensive in that decision. Then the second one was with regard to preliminary objections. Again, the condemnation is filed, and the property owner, the then property owner, has a chance to say, hey, look, certain procedures or protocols weren't followed. And that was the basis, well, that was what was tried to be filed, preliminary objections. It kind of went off on a tangent. But in any event, I would anticipate getting that decision here in very short order, confirming that we as an organization have in fact followed all our rules and regulations and the proper procedure in the filing of that condemnation. So the next step would be evaluation on that hearing, or on that property, which again is 602 West 9th Street. One of the important things that I wanted to let the board know about, that is kind of intertwined with the land bank as well. A couple of weeks ago, we had an opportunity to meet with the solicitor for the Tax Claim Bureau and the solicitor for the Tax Assessment Office, because what we were finding was that after the condemnation was completed, and the condemnation does remove, or it basically removes any liens or encumbrances on the property. Those liens or encumbrances are still of record. So when the redevelopment authority would transfer them either to the land bank or to a third party, that third party, if they do a title search, they're going to see, okay, there's back taxes that are due, there's municipal liens. So what we did was saying, look, we need to find a procedure or process to quickly and efficiently remove them of record, so that we're putting the third party buyer, and most importantly the third party title insurance company, at ease that they've been not only removed by the condemnation action, but they have been removed of record. So we've made a giant leap in accomplishing that I think that we would have a procedure or protocol in place, utilizing those row offices, and also with us tabling basically what would make them as the row office solicitors more comfortable is if we designated, and I can control this, the order to mandate or direct that they, as a result of the condemnation action, that they remove those municipal liens of record, that they mark those back due taxes satisfied of record. So that will help expedite it too. So that was a very beneficial meeting. So what our plan is to speed up that process so that that's our job, is to take these blighted and condemned properties and get them back out into the community, tax-paying community. So
Absolutely.
I think that
Yeah.
was a very beneficial meeting.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm happy to say that we're working on that and tidying things up.
Yeah, because you hear of stories of, months and years and decades going by and, and taxes are not being collected and there's expenses that the authority has to pay to, carry the properties and so on. So it's really good work.
So
Make
that
that
was a great
efficient.
opportunity to pull everybody together, not only from the redevelopment authority, but also those solicitors, so that we can all work together to get those done. Thank you. With that, I'm done.
All right. Any questions from Sunburn? Hearing none, we'll move on to unfinished business and new business. So Aaron, you're going to give us an update on the Sierra Hearn Church.
Yeah, so, after the last meeting, we reached out to the one individual who put a proposal in, scheduled a time to go out to the church. We had to reschedule that from last week to this week, so that's going to happen on Thursday. We'll take them through, let them see the inside and work with them to see if there's still an interest in doing it and work through that. We also came to light today, there might be somebody else interested, so we're going to reach out to them, have them follow the same process of putting in the, interest paperwork and all that, so we know what's going on. So we're going to work through that and hopefully have a better update for the board next month as far as that goes.
All right. And of course, if you can send me any solicitation stuff, I'll get it out more regionally then, and
Yes.
just to cast the net a little bit wider then, and see what that looks like, and maybe find somebody, a more regional developer who can partner with the local developer to kind of get it going, because it's a big project.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah. All right. Update on the East Bayfront Greenway Trail project. Included in your packet was a list of properties that we've been working on. We also met last week with Michael Baker to kind of finalize a couple of the issues from our steering committee meeting. The plan has been sent over to their landscape architect to put together some designs and some preliminary cost estimates on what the plan is going to cost. So we're hoping to have that back here by the middle of July. Hopefully we'll be able to have a study session with the board, an executive session with the board sometime in August to review that plan and get it approved by the Redevelopment Authority Board so we can move forward with it.
Yeah, and looking at the visuals, I was able to attend remotely the meeting. It was really impressive how things are starting to coalesce.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to imagine what that would look like, and certain of the options are looking a lot clearer.
I believe once we have the plan and then we start to acquire different parcels, we'll be able to add onto it. So it's certainly, I think, not as robust as we would have hoped out of the gate, but I think down the road, it's going to be a benefit for the neighborhood. And we're already looking at the vacant lots we already have and some other things to see what kind of assets, the neighbors are looking for and what we can provide to that area of town.
I'm interested to see what the public safety and city engineering folks are doing with the traffic calming and crosswalks and so on.
Yeah. There was certainly some discussion in regards to those alleys and difference of opinions between, municipal entities, so.
Yeah, it's an interesting project to see everybody's points of view and seeing how to come together for the common good. I can understand their concerns.
Right, no, absolutely.
We're all learning together, I think, so I appreciated being part of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. New in our packets are some loan guidelines that Aaron had circulated earlier, I think on Friday. So if you want to walk us through.
Yeah, so provided for you, we worked on the guidelines you guys had originally approved a couple months ago, the loan term sheets. So these are the guidelines, kind of walk through each different of the programs, what each individual would be required, what the applicants must provide, who's prioritized in the application. So we have the contractor loan program, the new production loan program, and the rental investment program. They're all commercial loan programs. These are not consumer loan programs, so it does fall under the ability for the Redevelopment Authority to provide the loan funding. The contractor loan program, and I'll just kind of briefly go over it if there's any particulars, is to provide up to $50,000 of assistance to a contractor who has been awarded a publicly funded project to help facilitate the ability for them to mobilize and complete that project, given the likelihood they don't have the funding to compete against some of the larger firms. The new production loan program is built to allow for the development of workforce housing or rehabilitate housing within the city of Erie up to 4-unit structures, 50,000 to 200,000 loans broken out into different rates between nonprofit and for-profit individuals, with a 12-month construction term and the ability for that after 12 months, or really after 12 months, it flipping over to a 10-year mortgage until the project is completed and repaid. And then the rental investment loan program is $25,000 cap per unit for the ability to acquire or rehabilitate rental housing located within the city of Erie, with the goal being quality rental housing.
And that's limited to 4 units as well.
That is limited to 4 units without board approval. So the ability that properties containing more than 4 units would have to come to the board for approval. So if somebody wanted to utilize a loan program to develop 15 units, then we would have to bring that proposal to the board for approval.
Right. Through that, yeah, that makes sense. Because it's really focused on, it really helps with the neighborhood development and developing homes that are consistent with the character of the neighborhood, as opposed to large scale properties, which could be fine. It's just that they have to be carefully planned.
Yeah, we certainly want to make sure that we review those carefully.
Yeah.
That, and we're in cooperation with the neighborhood groups on anything that would be larger than 4 units.
Yeah, well, because larger projects can really change the character of a neighborhood, sometimes not to the better.
Yes.
Okay. So we had previously approved these programs, and
Yes.
this is now the detail that you're providing. So just an abundance of caution, we should probably approve these today.
We would like to move them forward.
Okay.
As so we can get some of these rolled out quickly.
And I would recommend doing so that we can expedite and getting this money available to developers and contractors. And we was worried about recapture of the ARP funds. We're hearing a little bit about that in the background, so we want to keep moving ahead. And I would invite any board member in the next couple of days, if you see something really jumping out, let Aaron know. But otherwise, I would ask for a motion to accept these 3 today.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And again, Aaron, if you want to contact the members who are absent and just let them know if they have any additional comments, let you know in a couple of days. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Then you should be able to go.
Yeah, follow up with them as well.
And finally, we have the ARP new production program.
All right, well, I'd hoped to have, when I put the agenda together, have a little bit more for you on this,
Okay.
but the loan program guidelines kind of took a little precedence to that.
Understood.
But the intent with the new production program, right now, we have about $900,000 left in that program for the development of assemblage of our lots and development of new housing. My thought is I'm going to put together an RFP for developer opportunities, allow developers to submit letters of or developer proposals for the use of the funding for whatever their development might be. We've had several meetings with some different interested developers. They all have a different perspective on what they want. So figure if we put out an RFP toward developers, that we'll get some different proposals and be able to rate those and figure out what we would want to fund with that funding, given that we would want to keep affordability as part of that, and of course the usage of our lots as a priority, or lots within some of these neighborhoods.
Based on some of the city's plans through CZB and others, does the city have any priorities or anything that they would like to see in terms of that might help us to help rate other proposals? Are there we desperately need X, we desperately need 50 units of this style housing, or 20 units in this neighborhood, or this type of housing for this income group? If any of that exists, that would be helpful. And
Yeah, I think the comprehensive plan and neighborhood plans have been more like geographic focused rather than like those specifics like you're talking about,
Yeah.
style of housing or,
Okay.
occupancy.
Or
thing.
target area.
But definitely like target corridors or areas within neighborhoods that I think.
Yeah, and if any of that's available, that will help them make the decision, selection
Much easier.
process more objective, so that, because each developer is going to come in is going to have the best possible project possible, and they'll tell us that, of course, and it'd be helpful to have some degree of, even before pencil meets paper, to have some degree of priorities.
Yeah, absolutely. We can pull some of that
That's
information together for
available
you.
to us then.
Yeah.
You know, over the years,
See
we
what we
spent a lot
find.
of money on plans, and it's
Yeah.
time to make sure that we're putting those
We're
into
following
good use,
those
right?
plans.
Yeah.
Just a thought, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right, that's helpful. All right, well, we've accomplished a lot today. Anything else? Any board members have any other questions or comments or observations or anything? Mr. Nelson?
Yes, back in May, we did talk about the new housing loan program. Did we finalize that?
That was one today, new production,
And so we
new
changed the
production
name.
loan. Yeah, it was always new production. I think we had talked about it kind of as new housing, but the new production is focused on development of either new housing or rehabilitated housing.
No, this was the one where we were loaning so much to, I'll have to pull it. It's, I do have it.
Okay.
But we had talked about giving loans to homeowners.
Oh,
Right.
and housing rehabilitation loan? Oh, the home ownership incentive, the 20.
Yes.
Yes.
So at this point, we've been working with an attorney to see if we are able to undertake lending mortgages directly to consumers, and that is not something that we are equipped for. We would have to be like a CDFI or collaborate with a bank, which we did try to reach out to 2 of them, and they were not receptive to that. So as of right now, we had to table that and focus on the commercial until we got some either set answers or maybe a better direction for where we can put that money, or possibly turn part of it into a grant, is what we had talked about before when we realized that we were running into some obstacles that we couldn't overcome.
And I'm
So-
recalling the loan servicing can be very challenging, and without
Yes.
having a system in place,
Yes,
the servicing of those loans can be,
it's,
So-
right, it's all of the underwriting, the rules and regulations you have to follow, the reporting to the government, all of.
We
yeah.
reached out to the attorney to get a letter for the city as the city requested, and so they're just working through getting us that
Okay.
information back.
so still in discussion then.
Yes,
Okay.
still moving forward, it's just, yeah, they're working
Yeah.
through the details.
Anything else? Any announcements today, everybody? Any fun plans? No, just kidding. Oh, that's right, we're not supposed to have fun here, are we? Oh, just kidding. So, if there's no other further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you. All those in favor, aye.
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 Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate everyone's work today.
Thank you.